Now, I've been checking out a lot of these new Copilot Plus PCs running the brand new Snapdragon X Elite processors. I looked at the offerings from Asus, from HP, from Lenovo, of course from Microsoft, and we also looked at the ones from Samsung. Yes, I looked at the Galaxy Book4 Edge, the 14-inch. We've already done that one in terms of the unboxing and first look review, but I also took delivery of its 16-inch sibling. It has a bigger display, slightly bigger battery life, but it runs cool and quiet, has an outstanding, gorgeous AMOLED display, 16-inch, 2x AMOLED display. It's dynamic in terms of the refresh rate, up to 120 hertz. It is simply stunning. It's got a nice, sleek design. I love the sapphire color. I mean, there's a lot to like here, but it's not perfect. I'm gonna get into the reasons why. There are a few things holding it back, but for the most part, if you're gonna stick to the basics on this, this is a great travel laptop that gives you excellent battery life, really great single and multi-core performance, and overall a great experience. We're gonna get into it and more in this review. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Book4 Edge running the Snapdragon X Elite processor here for 2024. Coming up. Now, before we delve into the laptop itself, I just want to thank Best Buy for sending over the unit we're going to look at here today. Now, they did send it over free of charge. However, they are not getting any copy approval. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own, and Samsung is not getting copy approval either. They didn't send this over, obviously, and I wouldn't give them copy approval anyway. So there you go. So for those interested, check out the link in the description below. Head on over to Best Buy. Now, Best Buy is a great resource. I've worked with them in the past, as you know, and they have great brands, not only Samsung, but other brands as well, especially when it comes to laptops. They run very nice sales, very aggressive sales. So make sure you check out the link in the description below. And if you want to pick up the Samsung Galaxy Book4 Edge in either the 14 or the 16-inch variant, check out that affiliate link in the description below. I want to thank Best Buy for sending this over. Now, with that being said, this does have a price of $1749.99. That nets you the Snapdragon X Elite processor, the 84100 variant. We'll get into the performance later on. 16 gigabytes of RAM, a terabyte of storage in a gorgeous sapphire blue color. Again, for those interested, check out the link in the description below. You know the drill, folks. Let's get this out of the box. Well, it looks like we don't need the knife, as there's some pull tabs here. I forgot about that. So let's just pull those. Okay, so once again, we get some pretty nice packaging from Samsung, and we get our power adapter. I think it's going to be the same one we saw, fast charge adapter we saw on the 14-inch. You get the same one here, looks like on the 16-inch, so that's good. So let's put that to the side for now. And then we get the unit itself, and obviously a little bit more heft, although it has a nice feel to it. We'll get into the measurement of the weight in just a little bit, and we'll get to the unit, of course, but you do get your USB Type-C cable as it comes into focus there. So that's all you get. You get some documentation, and it looks like that's about it. Okay, so feeling pretty good so far. You can see it here. This is the Galaxy Book4 Edge, and this is the 16-inch version, and it is looking pretty thin and pretty light for a 16-inch, although it has a very premium feel to it. Let's see if we can do the one-handed test here. Oops, a little bit of a slippery table here. Yep, you can. So there you go. Okay, let's get a measurement of the weight. We're looking at 1.553 kilograms, and that is 3 pounds, 6.8 ounces. And with the power brick and the charging cable, you're looking at 1.717 kilograms, and that is 3 pounds, 12.6 ounces for a 16-inch laptop. Extremely thin and extremely light. Now, I really like the thin and light design here. I like the sapphire blue finish. It gives it a sleek and modern look. Not only is this super thin, it is also super light, especially if you go with the 14-inch, and even as a 16-inch variant, if you choose the bigger model, that is certainly light for the category. So overall, a nice modern design here from Samsung. Now, if you follow my channel, you know I've not been the biggest fan of the Samsung Galaxy Book keyboards in the past. I felt the key travel was a bit too shallow for my liking, although the tactility and the feedback is actually pretty good on it. Just wish it had more key travel. That being said, I was able to type out long documents, emails, using it as my daily driver for the last couple of weeks, testing this out, and it was working out okay. I have used much better keyboards on other laptops, but this certainly will get the job done. It also has a multi-stage backlight that allows you to get work done in a dark room and a dimly lit environment. I thought it worked okay, not a bad deal there. And as far as the touchpad, well, you'll notice that it's a very big size touchpad here. It's a glass touchpad, and I thought it was very responsive. Scrolling, doing all the gestures, everything seemed very well tuned on it. Now, one disappointing thing, of course, is at this price point, I would expect a haptic touchpad. You don't get that here. Now, you do get it on the Surface Laptop 7, and that worked out really well because that has a Sensal haptic touchpad. Here, you have a regular mechanical style, normal touchpad. It is oversized, and it worked out really well in terms of what you needed to do. Just wish it had a haptic touchpad. All right, let's check out the port selection. And if you need more ports, the 16-inch variant is the way to go. It has more ports than the 14-inch for those wondering. Now, on the left side is an HDMI 2.1 port and two USB 4.0 ports, a USB Type-C, and they are full function. Now, moving over to the right side is a microSD card reader, a USB Type-A port, and a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack. I would say very good port selection. Now, for those wondering about Thunderbolt support, I was able to use my Sabrent portable SSD drive on both those USB 4.0 ports on the left side, so that is supported here. The overall takeaway is a pretty decent port selection here on the 16-inch, especially if you need those extra ports you don't get on the 14-inch. Now, when it comes to the internals and user upgradability, a little bit disappointing news here on both the 14-inch and this 16-inch variant when it comes to the SSD. Unlike some of the others here in this category, you cannot upgrade the SSD yourself. It is soldered into the motherboard. And as you can see from the reads and writes, certainly adequate for what you need this laptop to do, but not as fast as some other Intel-based or AMD-based laptops we've been seeing here for 2024. And that's a bit disappointing. You can't upgrade it as the user. Now, as far as the RAM is concerned, it's the very fast LP DDR5X RAM running at the very fast 8,500 mega transfers per second, and that is soldered in as well, so not upgradable by the user, which is pretty much par for the course here in 2024. And when it comes to the wireless, you're looking at Wi-Fi 7 and a Bluetooth 5.3 combo card that is soldered into the motherboard, not upgradable by the user. But because it is Wi-Fi 7, it is more future-proof than, say, Wi-Fi 6E, for instance. But as far as the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, both working flawlessly, no issues with either one. Now, this being an ARM-based processor, I was hoping to see an option for 5G, mobile broadband, not in the initial launch here with these laptops. Hopefully, that will be coming later down the road. Okay, let's talk about this absolutely gorgeous display. And as we saw with the 14-inch, the 16-inch has the same metrics in terms of the resolution here. It's 2880 by 1800. That is a 16:10 aspect ratio. It has 120 hertz variable refresh rate. It has excellent coverage of the color gamut. It's color accurate, and it is simply gorgeous. It is a dynamic AMOLED 2X display, so you're going to get the really deep blacks, the super vibrant colors, the really high contrast. It's all there. It's also a bright display coming in above 500 nits in SDR, standard dynamic range, and above that when you're watching HDR. So that has been very good. Now, one of the issues I had also with the Intel variant earlier this year was the screen glare and reflection. That was a big pet peeve. Of course, this has a better anti-reflective coating, it seems, and does a lot better in terms of screen glare and reflection. So that has been actually pretty good, although not totally eliminating that is certainly good. And the fact that it gets bright certainly helps as well. Now, it's also a multi-touch display. There is no S Pen support for those wondering. I did try, but it is a multi-touch display, so doing pinch to zoom, navigating the OS with your finger works well. And having that variable refresh rate up to 120 hertz gives you that very smooth, very fluid experience. So the overall takeaway is this display has been excellent in really every regard. Now, one thing I did notice here is a bit of screen wobble when typing or when you're pushing the display. You'll notice it move a little bit more than you'd like to. Now, it is a little bit better than the Intel variant I looked at earlier this year, but not totally eliminating that issue. So I'd like to see better hinges as far as screen wobble next time around. Now, some people are sensitive to PWM or screen flickering that is used in an AMOLED or an OLED display, so people can get some headaches with that, and I know some people are sensitive. I'm not, but I would be remiss if I didn't point that out. There is no screen door effect. Now, sometimes you get that on these AMOLED or an OLED display that has a pen layer or a digitizer layer. I don't see it here. There's no pen tile look on it or anything like that. No screen door effect, and that is welcome here. So very nice panel here. Overall takeaway, a beautiful, gorgeous display here, 16 inches. It is simply stunning. So this is the camera on the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Edge, the 16-inch variant here. Of course, this is a 1080p camera, 30 frames per second. What do you think about the video quality? What do you think about the audio quality? Let me know. Now, this is not an IR camera. That means you cannot log in with face recognition with Windows Hello, but the power button doubles as a fingerprint scanner. That allows you to log in with Windows Hello. That worked well, very responsive in that regard. What do you think about this for your video conferencing needs? Now, this is an AI PC or Copilot Plus PC. It has an NPU with up to 45 tops, and we have some of the studio effects that the NPU controls here. We have the auto framing, we got the portrait light, eye contact, background effects, and of course creative filters. You could do illustrated, watercolor, animated. I don't really care for those, but they're there. Those are some of the new things you can do with that. The auto framing working well here. Of course, if you go out of frame, it will keep you in frame automatically. And then, of course, you have the background effects. You got the standard blur, and then you have the portrait blur. I would say overall, a very nice camera here. What do you think about the video quality and the audio quality? Let me know. Okay, so this is the one I've been wanting to check out in terms of performance. This is the Snapdragon X Elite, the X1E 84100. That's the top of the line, at least for now, as far as what is available in terms of the Snapdragon Elite processors. And that has the dual-core boost that you don't get on, say, something like the 78100. But to tell you the truth, having used both processors, or both variants of the same processor, I should say, it hasn't really made much of a difference. But what I am seeing with the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Edge, the 16-inch here, has the best single and multi-core performance out of the initial bunch at launch here, and that is pretty good. Excellent single core, as you can see here when you compare it to some of the others in the category, scoring 2,894. So for doing everyday tasks and so forth, this is going to do everything very well. Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, all handled very well. Now, multi-core performance is excellent as well, coming in with a score of 15,285, which is the best of the bunch, as I mentioned. So multi-thread, multi-core performance is excellent on the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Edge 16-inch here. Now, as far as Cinebench 2024, it is actually very good as well in terms of both single and multi-core performance. So I would say the overall takeaway is it has been pretty excellent so far. Now, when it comes to gaming, it's been pretty much hit or miss in this initial launch of the Snapdragon-based Copilot Plus PCs. The integrated Adreno graphics are good. They're not quite as good as the Intel Arc graphics or the AMD Radeon graphics we've been seeing here in 2024. And some titles just wouldn't work. Some titles would load up and would work, but would not work properly. So I would say it's been early days here, and I think if you're looking to do anything beyond the general purpose activities and tasks, I would look elsewhere, because you're just not going to be able to do it on this. And there have been certain driver issues, maybe not emulation issues, but driver issues on older peripherals like printers and stuff like that, that may not work. Again, your mileage may vary. So again, early days, hopefully with some updates and some optimization, that will change. Now, After Effects, Premiere Pro from Adobe are not yet working on the Snapdragon Copilot Plus PCs, but a native ARM variant is on the way, according to Adobe. I don't have a timetable, but apparently it's coming very soon. So for those that want to use Premiere Pro and After Effects, that will be coming. Now, I was able to use the beta version of DaVinci Resolve Studio 19 that is made for Windows and ARM, and I would say it has some bugs in it. It needs to iron out a few things here and there, but for the most part, worked when I rendered a 4K video, doing it in about 2.5 minutes on a 3-minute 4K video, which is not too bad, although not quite as good as something with a discrete GPU or even the Intel Arc graphics we've seen here in 2024. So I would just temper your expectations, at least for now, when it comes to heavy 4K video editing. Now, when I ran the TimeSpy stress test to see if this will thermal throttle under heavy load, it got a passing score of 99.7%, meaning it detected virtually no thermal throttling under load, and that's a good thing. And when it comes to the surface temperatures, where you place your fingers on the keyboard, staying relatively cool. Above the keyboard, below the displays where the heat's going to dissipate, but never getting overly hot there either. So the overall takeaway is very good in terms of the where you place your fingers. And on the underside, never getting overly hot either, with the hot spot around 44, 45 degrees by the vent on the back. Overall, excellent surface temperatures. And the fan noise, when you're going to place this under heavy load, when you're doing heavy video editing or you're going to game on this, you will notice it at 44, 45 decibels. But when you're doing everyday tasks, it was not an issue. The fans basically don't come on at all. It's been pretty silent, but you will hear them, not overly loud, when you are pushing it under 100% heavy load. And I'm seeing excellent battery life here on this Galaxy Book4 Edge. The 16-inch variant here has a 61.8 watt-hour battery, a bigger battery than the 14-inch version. It did 13 hours and 29 minutes on my 4K video playback test that I ran on all of the new Copilot Plus PCs. And for some reason, I was able to get the PC Mark X video playback test to work here, getting 14 hours and 21 minutes on that test. So the overall takeaway here is excellent battery life. Now, I want you to keep something in mind. Everybody's use case is a little bit different, so your mileage may vary, but I would say all-day battery life is certainly doable here on this Galaxy Book4 Edge. It just depends on what you do, but excellent battery life nonetheless. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Book4 Edge 16-inch variant has AKG tuned speakers. They're quad speakers. You got 2 woofers and 2 tweeters on this that will give you some pretty nice sound. Overall, good volume, good mids, decent bass. But of course, I want you to be the judge. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. It also has Dolby Atmos to help with the spatial audio. Now, let's give it a listen. Now, of course, there's some missing features here at the initial launch of these Copilot Plus PCs. The biggest one, of course, being the recall. Due to privacy and concern issues, Microsoft pulled it at the last minute, supposedly coming later this year. I don't have a timetable, but hopefully we'll get a chance to check that out sooner rather than later. But there are some initial ones here that I think are pretty useful in everyday use. The biggest one, I think, for my use is going to be that live caption feature that will allow you to translate into English many different languages, of course, and that will happen real time via the AI through the NPU and all that stuff. So that has been working out pretty decent. Now, the other thing that has been also pretty good is the Copilot key on here. Pressing that brings up the Copilot feature, and you can use your voice or you can type in your request, and that worked out pretty well. Here's a good example of that. Who is YouTuber Andrew Mark David?
Andrew Mark David is an award-winning tech reviewer with a YouTube channel that boasts 162K subscribers and 993 videos. He specializes in laptop reviews and provides valuable insights on various models. If you're interested in laptops, his channel is definitely worth checking out. He covers a wide range of laptops, including the 2024 HP Spectre X36014, with an Intel Meteor Lake processor, 1610 OLED display, haptic touchpad, and included pen, the Lenovo ThinkPad X One Fold 16 Gen 1, and the HP Spectre foldable PC. His reviews delve into specs, design, performance, and more. Andrew also shares his thoughts on the best laptops in different categories, such as general purpose, budget, gaming, and creators' laptops. If you're in the market for a new laptop, his insights can be quite helpful. And hey, kudos to Andrew for his impressive subscriber count and dedication to keeping us informed about the latest tech.
Not bad. Okay, let's wrap it all up. What do I think about the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Edge, both the 14 and the 16-inch variant here for 2024? And I gotta say, excellent here. 2.8K dynamic AMOLED 2X display. I like it both in the 14 and in the 16-inch variant. Very good. But if you need that extra screen real estate, obviously go with the 16-inch. Variable refresh rate up to 120 hertz. Good single, good multi-core performance, especially on that 16-inch variant. Running the X1 Elite, the 84-100. That's the fastest we've seen out of the initial batch here. Runs cool, quiet for everyday tasks. I love this gorgeous sapphire blue color. It's premium build and it's got a beautiful design. It's got excellent battery life and it is thin and light, especially for a 16-inch laptop if you're going to go with that bigger variant. But of course, it's far from perfect here. The Adreno graphics have been pretty much hit or miss as far as those x86 apps. Some of them are not working either. That's, of course, a issue that they're going to iron out over time, in my opinion, of course. Gaming has been hit or miss. Of course, if you're looking to do AAA titles, this is not for you. Some driver issues for older peripherals are to be expected here in this initial batch. Missing some AI features at launch. There's no recall. And there's no haptic touchpad here, especially at this high price point. I would have expected a haptic touchpad like you get, say, on the Microsoft Surface Laptop 7. And while it's still early for these Copilot Plus PCs, the 16-inch variant of the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Edge gets you the better performance, the better graphics than the others, and I think they hit enough of the points that I wanted to see here to make it my favorite Samsung Galaxy Book 4 laptop here in 2024 that I think will only get better through updates, through firmware updates, through all the different driver optimizations that it needs to go through with this initial batch here in 2024. But that being said, I think Samsung did a fantastic job here, and I'm happy to see some major improvements in the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 lineup. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. And don't forget to check out my website, amdtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.